What's going on, everybody? B. Scott, I'm here with
The GOAT.
And on today's show, we go over some running backs, must-have. These are guys you should be targeting ahead of the 2021 NFL season. So, keep it locked and loaded right here at the first 4 downs.
Period. Third wheel. You know what it is. Drop the logo, man.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. As I mentioned in the preview, we're going to go over some must-have running backs. These running backs you should be targeting, plain and simple, with huge upside. So, before we get to today's content, don't forget, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb, bell, all that good stuff. Comment. Let us know how we're doing. You got a question? Ask us about a player. We're open. We'll talk to you. So, let's dive right into it. The first player we would talk about, J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins, coming off the board as the RB15, being drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. This is a guy that's got so much upside, it's crazy. Averaged 6 yards per carry last season, 134 carries, 800 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns, 8 of those rushing touchdowns in the red zone, within the 5-yard line. He crushed it down the stretch, plain and simple, and Mark Ingram is no longer there. So you look at Gus Edwards. Of course, Gus Edwards is going to get his share, period. 144 carries last season. I still think there's room where Dobbins can carry the ball 200 times. You saw he's probably going to get some more receiving work, albeit they don't throw the ball too much to the running backs. 18 receptions for J.K. Dobbins last season. Only 9 receptions for Gus Edwards. So there was talks in the offseason. They want to get these running backs more involved in the pass game. We'll just have to wait and see if it happens. But I think there's plenty of room here for Dobbins to still carry the ball about 200 times. You're looking at probably a safe average of 5 yards per carry, albeit it's hard to give somebody that, but 6 yards per carry last season. Absolutely outstanding. So you're looking at 1,000 yards. In my opinion, 10 plus touchdowns. It's pretty safe to say that he's going to finish as a 10 to 12 RB and has upside to finish even better than that.
Yeah, he does have a lot of upside, and to finish like top 5, I don't think that's necessarily a fit for him in this offense. But if you look in the last 3 years, they're number 1 in rush attempts, number 1 in rushing yards per game. You know what I mean? So these guys, you know, his workload is not going anywhere. It's a pretty much safe place to pick him where he's being picked at. As far as his explosiveness, 6 yards per carry, run 4.3 speed. You know, there's a room where if he even gets to 200 touches, he can still probably average the 6 yards per carry, which is crazy. They added a lot of wide receiver work to this offense, so I'm not really worried about the receptions at all. I think what we're going to see here is a version of the Baltimore Ravens where they were in 2019, where Mark Ingram ran the ball 220 times, 1,008 yards, 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Easy. This is easy money. Go get you some Dobbins. This is my ultra RB2 coming off the board. Right after the elites is gone, you know, I would take a huge chance on this guy right here. This is the Baltimore Ravens. They run the football. This is what they do. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy you want. And please, give me some J.K. Dobbins all day long, 2021.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, coming off the board at the RB14. Right there in that 3rd and 4th round, right around Dobbins. 181 carries, 800 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Missed 3 games due to injury. He's got huge upside in the passing game. You already know the work can be there. There's not really much competition behind him. Darrell Williams, Darwin Thompson. These are guys that I don't know necessarily if they're going to be able to compete for that many touches. Now, to say he's going to be a true workhorse and carry the ball 250 times, no. But I think there is room here where he can get to 200 carries. You already saw it with 181 last year. I think he can get to 40, 50 receptions. I think the touchdown numbers could be somewhere between the 7 to 10 mark, total, receiving and rushing. So I think he's got a lot of upside here to have a pretty good season. Averaged 4.4 yards per carry last season. Finished the RB21 and missed 3 games. So there's a lot of room for improvement here. And this is a guy that I would be targeting, especially in those middle rounds that could solidify your RB2 spot.
I agree. Here we are talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire again. There was nothing but hype drawn around him last season. He was the first running back taken off the board in the end of the draft in the 1st round last year by the world champion then, Chiefs or whatever. But, you know, that hype came with a little bit of lackluster performance from a guy who looked like a rookie last year. You're looking at offense that threw the ball a ton. They were in a lot of one-score games, you know what I mean? And he didn't really get the volume that I think that he wanted to finish. You know what I'm saying? You look at, since they went to this air raid system with Patrick Mahomes, no running back that they've had in the Andy Reid system, which is crazy, has finished in the top 20 of running backs. But I think this year there'll be a little bit more value for him to be more of a marquee player in this offense and go through him and be able to run through the tackles. You know what I mean? I think the production will be there just given. I mean, there's nobody behind him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if he can stay healthy and, be there and be available for these games, that's the biggest point coming into his sophomore season. You look at last year, he finished 12.2 fantasy points per game, which is kind of lackluster. It looked like Melvin Gordon's 1,000 less season last year. You know what I mean? So I think that with them upgrading the tackles and the offensive line this year, there'll be more of an improvement and more of a chance where he can hit a different ceiling. Where we're drafting him at right now, I think, is at his floor, to be honest with you. So, in a very potent offense, a top 5 offense like the Kansas City Chiefs, you want to be tied to Andy Reid's running back, period. Because all of his running backs throughout his career, whether it was Westbrook, Kareem Hunt, to LaShawn McCoy, all these guys have finished top 8 or better in their career multiple times. This is a guy that you get, and like I said, at his floor. His ceiling is top 5, so go get you some Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Chris Carson, coming off the board as the RB16. Once again, 3rd, 4th round, maybe 5th if you're lucky. This is a guy, 140 carries, the lowest in his career so far. 600 rushing yards, still average, 4.8 yards per rush.
It's ridiculous.
37 receptions, tied for his career high with last season in 3 less games. Only played 12 games, still finished as the RB17. 2019, RB11. 2018, RB15. Being drafted as RB16, he's being drafted as floor, really. It's safe to say. Now, there's not really much competition. They bring in Alex Collins to back him up. Carlos Hyde obviously leaves in free agency. Penny, they decline his option. They have no vested interest in him whatsoever. If he can get on the field, hopefully that'll be good for him.
Yeah, these are capable runners, but they're not typically guys that you want to see as a workhorse guy. They're the backup.
Yeah, of course. So Carson coming in should be fully healthy on a mediocre load last season. Could see 200 carries here and could probably see, at the rate of the reception uptick, 40 receptions maybe.
Yeah. And
of course, he's going to be the goal line guy. So huge value for Chris Carson. This is a guy you got to be targeting.
Yeah, of course. What I like about Chris Carson the most in this offense where they're letting Russ cook more, is a guy who in the last 2 seasons has an uptick in his receptions. You know what I mean? This is the kind of guy that you look for in a workhorse back that don't take the carries that one of these top 5 guys got to take to be a top 5 guy. You got to have those kind of carries, period.
Yep.
We know that he honestly really can't handle these kind of carries. So what they're doing is they're passing it to him more. I don't know if that's due to the inefficiency at the tight end position. We've been knowing like Disley those years, when they was targeting him, he was like a top 5 tight end, you know what I mean? Now we're seeing Carson getting the receptions, and that's typically more of a kind of guy that you want that'll finish as a top end running back for fantasy, period. You know what I'm saying? It's more efficient, and I really like it. Like, you look at DK. Can't nobody handle DK. Tyler Lockett is sneakily good, and then you got this guy Estridge that they like a lot, you know what I mean? So this passing game is going to be very fluid and open up a lot of lanes for a guy who cannot I wouldn't say cannot take 250 carries, but shouldn't, with the new capability of him being able to catch ball. So this is a value guy right here for me. You know what I'm saying? The floor is easily, a top end running back, and his ceiling could be a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. David Montgomery coming in at RB17, being drafted just after Chris Carson. This is my thing. Finished RB4 last season. Why is he ranked so low? Now, there's a lot of question marks around that. Tariq Cohen, it's not looking like he's going to be healthy to start the season.
He was a gadget guy from the get anyway.
Yeah, of course. He didn't have a great yards per carry last season, 4.3, but the huge total in receptions, 54 total receptions, 240 carries, got over that 1,000-yard mark. Plenty of touchdowns for the upside. I mean, I'm hard-pressed to say that Dave Montgomery is the number 17 back, considering how good he did last season. Now, obviously, they bring in Justin Fields. That should boost the passing attack, hopefully, if he's the starter. That means it should open up more running lanes for Dave Montgomery. Now, can you guarantee that the receptions are going to be there? That's the tough part. That's what you want to see in a top 5 running back. So, is that a guarantee? Not necessarily. They bring in Damian Williams for some running back depth, but this is Dave Montgomery's team. You know he's going to see a big workload. He stayed healthy and proven it.
Huge workload.
That's what I'm saying. So, Why is he being drafted where he's being drafted? That's the crazy part for me. You're drafting him, really, it's inexplicable. His floor is way higher than where he's being drafted, in my opinion. And he's a guy, we already know he finished number 4 last season.
Yeah, number 4 in fantasy points last year, number 8 in fantasy points per game at 15.9 15.9. So, David Montgomery, the Chicago Bears, the 4.3 yards per carry last year, I think that has to do with their inability to have any explosive plays on his team. You know what I mean? You look at them, they were like pretty much dead last in the league in 20-plus plays, 20-plus yard gains, period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the addition of a guy like Justin Fields, who, if people remember correctly, he was the most accurate quarterback coming out of college in this draft class. So, I think this is going to help them immensely. And, you know, looking at his finish last year, he did finish the number 4 back, and that had a lot to do with his receptions. You know, you look at his reception point last year and the way he finished, I think that was because Mr. Trubisky just pretty much checked down to him.
Yeah.
You know, can Justin Fields do that? I don't know. He didn't do that in college. You know what I'm saying? Like Ohio, they didn't throw to the running backs too much. But if you come into the NFL, that's a different scheme. We no longer in college anymore.
Yeah.
This is the big league. And I think that a mobile quarterback, as we all know, helps the running back position, period. They've been able to open up lanes, and I think that is the answer for the 4.3 yards per carry last year. I think Montgomery's still at where he's at right now. You know what I mean? And, you know, this is a guy I'm obviously targeting in the 3rd round if everything else is falling off the board for me. You know what I mean? Of course, we're looking at a Dobbins, a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. These kind of guys hold a certain kind of value in top 5, top 10 offenses.
Yep.
But in an offense like this, you know, we don't really know what's going on with Justin Fields and how that dynamic is going to shape out for this football team. But we know that Montgomery is there, and he is going to get a huge workload.
Yep.
This is the guy I want, period.
Yeah. Darrell Henderson,
My guy.
coming off the board is the RB21. Now, this is my thing with him. Can we say that he's just going to dominate and be a top 10 back? Not necessarily, but here's the deal. You know Cam Akers is out. He's the only capable running back right now that you even know his name on the roster. So, 200-plus carries you're looking at last season. Average 4.5 yards per carry. Finished with 5 rushing touchdowns. He's more than capable here to carry a load. In all the games that he started last season, only 2 games he finished above 50% snap share. So, that's telling me that when he's in the lineup, he can make things happen. I really do think this is a potential to get 1,000 yards if they can keep him upright, playing all the games. 5 touchdowns last season. You know, the Rams have been running the ball for many years now. Todd Gurley, you saw what Cam Akers could do. Even Malcolm Brown has had some success, and we know how bad Malcolm Brown is. So, Darrell Henderson has got the opportunities here to finish in the top 15 at the running back position.
I just love how you just dogged my guy out, right? You said Todd Gurley, Cam Akers. And we seen Cam Akers last year. We also seen Darrell Henderson last year. With almost similar, identical numbers, Darrell Henderson outproduced him. 5 more touchdowns. This is a guy that you want on your team, on a team where they run blocking scheme is immaculate above anyone else. If he gets close to the 250 mark, you got a top 10 running back, period. That's what it is. I mean, no, he's not going to get the 300 like a Todd Gurley. We were questioning if Cam Akers can get the 300.
Yeah.
Could he be a top 5 running back? Well, Cam Akers is gone now. We got Darrell Henderson. This is a guy that that they drafted up to go get. They traded up to go get this guy in the draft, 3rd round in 2018 or 2019. I've been high on him for a long time, and this is his season. This is the time now. There's nobody behind this kid, and they have the number 1 strength of schedule in fantasy football this year. Go get you some Darrell Henderson. You will not be sorry. There is an added game to this season. Who knows if he starts every game? You know what I mean? Like any running back at this point, like Nick Chubb or whatever. Which this is another one of my guys, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones. I've told everybody since this podcast has been out, these running backs are the guys. They're coming. So is Darrell Henderson. Go get you some. You won't be mad. I guarantee you.
So that's it. That's been the 5 running backs. Our must-have running backs.
You better go get them.
Exactly. You should be targeting this season. So if you like the video, don't forget, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff. Comment. Drop a comment. Let us know any players you want to hear about. We'll get back to you. So for the first 4 downs, it's been B. Scott.
The plug.
And we out.
Yeah.